Hello, my name is Dr. Mary Ann Vincent, and this presentation is a very small snapshot of what I learned at the American Association of Colleges of Nursing's first annual Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Conference, which was virtual and took place on December 2nd and 3rd of 2020. I consider it an honor and a privilege to be on the University of St. Thomas Peavey School of Nursing's first Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee, along with colleagues Drs. Moreno, Campbell Law, and Ramakrishnan. This poster is from Dr. Amy Koch from Duke University, and it's entitled Rooting Out White Supremacy and Implementing Anti-Racism in Nursing Education. There are many very heavy issues on this poster. Dr. Koch presented the problem and some of the methods that are used to maintain that problem, and then she offered a solution for nursing education. Now, what I was really interested in knowing is exactly how a white nurse scholar from Duke University would define white supremacy. This picture is how I imagined it. Where I grew up in Southeast Texas, this is what I saw while my school was being racially integrated by force 50 years ago. Dr. Koch and her colleagues define white supremacy as something more subtle and insidious than burning crosses and tiki torches. White supremacy is the assumption that the white race is the central standard for everything, including healthcare. Dr. Koch reported that race is one of the most significant determinants of success in health and life, and it's not because of genetic or biologic factors, it's purely because of racism. Racism is a prejudice against someone because of their race when those prejudices are reinforced by systems of power. Establishing whiteness as the norm or standard is only one example of the destructiveness of white supremacy. One of the strategies used to maintain the white supremacy status quo is something called microaggressions. So what are they? They're hostile and derogatory terms used in common conversation to insult marginalized people. And here's 4 examples. Color blindness. Oh, I don't see color. I'm totally colorblind. It insinuates that there's no further anti-racism work to be done, and it upholds the racial status quo and inhibits any efforts to promote a healthy equity. Then there's tone policing. Don't be so defensive. It's an implicit or even an explicit tactic used by those with privilege to silence those without it. Gaslighting is a psychological manipulation, seeking to cast doubt in people by making them question their own perceptions and sanity. And of course, white advantage is unearned, invisible, difficult to recognize advantage affording white people benefits based just on their skin color. Dr. Koch then states that cultural intelligence and sensitivity can only be achieved by learning, unlearning, and through the teaching about culture from its own perspective, and I would add, by someone who is in that culture and truly understands it. How can we better integrate anti-racism into nursing? Well, here's 6 ideas. Identify biases, especially ones you're not aware of. Avoid scapegoating certain racial and ethnic groups during a crisis. Have a system at your school for reporting microaggressions. Teach hair care and skin assessment across races. Teach nursing students that words matter. Increase your own self-awareness as well. So what can nursing schools do to root out racism? They need to be more active in anti-racism. For white people, your goal should be to challenge other white people and systems to do this better, and not to prove to people of color that you're not a racist. What nursing schools can do to root out racism. This is the meat of the presentation right here. Remove race as a health factor from exam questions. Ensure that lecture images and photos are culturally appropriate and representative of diversity rather than stereotypes. Include education on hair care and skin care for diverse populations in health assessment courses. Present issues of racism, inequitable access, and generational trauma as causes of health disparities rather than assigning everything a biologic clause. Practice holistic nursing school admission processes and ensure inclusive faculty hiring practices. Attend racial equity training, presentations, and learning experiences. Question and evaluate narratives and portrayals of races in the news media. If you hear a racist comment or image, call that comment out or image in the present moment. Don't wait to do it later. Ask the department chair, dean, or diversity and inclusion department about a reporting system. Learn to recognize oppression, microaggression, and bias. If you're white, immediately and publicly address all instances of racism, rather than expecting your non-white colleagues to do this work. Require clinical instructors to complete anti-racism trainings and establish a reporting system for students to access when they experience racism in the clinical setting. And I might add that it might be good to have it anonymous, and that way they're more likely to be able to tell us what's going on for them. So the job of creating a world of diversity, equity, and inclusiveness belongs to all of us. Thank you very much. Have a great day.